In the village of Marrow Hollow, the mountains stood tall and quiet, their peaks sharp against the sky. By day, they were an ordinary backdrop, unmoving and gray. But when the full moon rose, something strange would happen. At midnight, a hole appeared high up in the crags, as if the moonlight itself had burned it into the rock. Only the elders of the village were allowed to approach it. They would march single file up the shadowed trails, torches in hand, their faces grave and voices hushed. "It is not for the young to know," they would say, their weathered eyes narrowing at anyone foolish enough to ask. I was the most foolish of them all. My name is Kale, and for as long as I can remember, I had been obsessed with the hole in the mountain. My mother, before she died, told me stories to soothe my curiosity. "The hole is where the gods breathe secrets into the world," she said one night as we huddled by the fire. "The elders listen, and they bring back the wisdom we need to survive." I clung to her words like a lifeline, believing them until I was old enough to see the cracks in her story. If the gods spoke through the hole, why did the elders return looking pale, as though they had been drained of something precious? "Stop asking questions, Kale," my father would bark whenever I brought it up. He had become an elder 2 winters ago. I remembered the man he had been, laughing, strong, and full of life. Now, he hardly spoke, and when he did, his words felt hollow. Something had been taken from him, and I knew the hole was to blame. The night of the full moon came again. I was 16 now, and no longer a child. I had spent years learning the paths of the mountains, studying their crevices and cliffs. This time, I would follow them. This time, I would see the hole for myself. I waited until the elders began their procession. They were easy to spot in the dark, their torches flickering like fireflies. I kept my distance, moving silently through the shadows, the cold mountain air biting at my skin. My heart pounded with excitement and fear, each step taking me closer to the mystery that had haunted my life. At last, the elders reached the summit, and there it was, the hole. It was not a cave or a tunnel, as I had imagined. It was a perfect circle carved into the mountain, black as pitch and unnaturally smooth, as if the stone itself had melted away. The air around it hummed faintly, like the vibrating string of a lute, and my skin prickled. The elders gathered in a circle, their voices low as they chanted something I could not understand. Then, one by one, they stepped forward and knelt before the hole, pressing their foreheads to its edge. I inched closer, careful not to make a sound. I peered over a ledge just above them, my eyes wide as I watched the ritual unfold. Suddenly, I heard it, a whisper. It came from the hole, faint but clear, like a voice carried on a distant wind. I couldn't make out the words, but it called to me, tugging at something deep inside. I felt myself leaning forward, my fingers gripping the cold rock. The sound grew louder, and with it came a wave of longing, a need to know, to listen, to understand. "Kale." I froze. The voice had said my name. How could it know my name? The elders did not react. Their heads remained bowed, their bodies still as statues. My father was among them, and for the first time, I saw him tremble. The whispering grew louder still, turning into a chorus of voices that seemed to speak directly into my mind. They were soothing and terrible all at once, their words brushing against my thoughts like cold hands. "Come closer," they murmured. I couldn't resist. I slid down the ledge and crept toward the hole. The elders remained unaware of me, their faces hidden in shadow. I fell to my knees before the hole, staring into its blackness. It was deeper than I could comprehend, an emptiness that seemed to stretch forever. And then I saw it. Eyes, hundreds of them, blinking in unison, glowing faintly in the dark. They watched me with an unnatural hunger, and my blood turned to ice. "Welcome," the voices whispered as one. I tried to pull away, but my body would not obey. The hole was pulling me in, its edges shifting like the mouth of a great beast. I realized then what the elders had done, what they always did. The whispers were not wisdom from gods. They were bargains. Every month, the elders offered a piece of themselves to whatever lived within the hole. Their laughter, their joy, their souls. In return, the hole gave nothing but the promise of sparing the village for another month. "You wanted to know," the voices said, their tone mocking now. "Come, give us your curiosity. Feed us your wonder." I screamed, but no sound escaped my throat. My father's head lifted then, his hollow eyes meeting mine, and for the first time in years, I saw emotion on his face. It was regret. Before I could resist, the hole opened wider, and the darkness swallowed me whole.